Someone in my personal finance community paid off $20,000 of debt in just 11 months. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about how these videos work because I'm building that personal finance community in public daily. It's called Dollar Discipline University, and how these videos are going to work is first I want to go through the YouTube comments. It's kind of like a YouTube Q&A to give you guys value immediately on this video. Then we're going to talk about probably why you clicked on the video, how someone in the community paid off the $20,000 debt in 11 months, and I'm calling this my wins series. So looking at the community and looking at the wins in the community, I'm going to break them down in terms of how that specific person got the win. Okay, so yesterday's I actually did where someone paid off a credit card in 30 days. Crazy. And then at the end, maybe we'll go through some community activity stuff or things that are sort of important for people like you trying to pay off your money or your debt a little faster, maybe save some more money, maybe just try to build up your confidence with your money. Okay, so first let's go to the old YouTube comments. So I'm going to go to my YouTube channel here. We're going to go to community, and oh no, we don't have any comments. So this is the part of the video where I would literally go through if you have any comments, questions, concerns about your personal situation, just general questions. I really want you guys to overwhelm me with all these questions. Okay, so we're gonna check that done. Now we're gonna get into the meat of the video here. Let's get into the next part of the wins series that I'm doing on this channel. So Angie paid off $20,000 of debt in 11 months. So here's the post that she made. And first, let's look at this, okay? She sent a screenshot, and this is crazy that she did a screenshot a year before this post. So in June of 2024, okay? Just look at that. She had $43,000 of debt, and now she posted this in June 2025. So literally, like, I think it's to the day. Wow, that's crazy. She posted it to the day, June 6th. So she said 11 months, but I think she took this and then didn't take action on it for like a month or so, and then started taking action on it. But it's just wild. Okay, so this is her post. This is where I was when I started working with DDU. So that she's talking about the screenshot here. Deep in debt. In just 11 months, I've paid down 65% of that debt. Even after taking on a bit more to buy a new car, I'm now down to $19,000. What made the difference? Budgeting templates and our monthly check-in calls. These kept me focused, disciplined, and motivated. Every month has been a win, not because my income increased, it hasn't, but because my habits improved. Along the way, I didn't just tackle debt, I also bought a car, started contributing to my Roth, built up my brokerage account, funded my emergency savings. All my bills are paid on time, and my credit score keeps climbing. I now have all the tools and the mindset to set up long-term success. And then she tells people to, I don't know, book a call with me. It's crazy that some people give me credit for them taking action. I do appreciate it, but it is fun to see people getting wins after specifically working with them. So Angie is one of the OG people that I've ever worked with, ever. So depending on when you're watching this video, for a while in this community, I was just helping out people for free. And she was one of the first people that I helped. And yeah, it's just so cool to see like her monthly updates or anything like that. She's really been crushing it. She changed her mindset, and like she said here, not because her income increased. And I think that's a big fallacy maybe, where people need to have their income. So let's talk about Angie's win. Okay, here we go. So what happened here? She had 43K debt, and according to her, she thanks her habits. Okay, so her income stayed the same, but her habits increased. Habits increase. So what habits are we talking about? Well, I'm not going to, I can't share her file, but what she did, she basically took, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. I'm going into my Google Drive. I'm not going to share her file. I'm going to share an example of my debt payment my budget template. So she took a version of like this. So this is a 3-month look back, basically like looking back 3 months of your finances. to get an understanding of where your money's going, and then we figure out a way to how to align it where we want it to go, right? And that's what this is. So she kind of took this and she's like, okay, this is fine, but I actually prefer another way. So how she did it, she would take she would take all of her transactions. So I think she did this every couple of days, whether she spent money on groceries or gas, or I don't know, she bought something online or something. So she would literally write out we would have like the expense, we'll call it category, we'll call it amount, and we'll call it date, right? And then basically what, oh yeah, that's not gonna work. And then basically what she did, she would like literally write down all the things, right? So groceries, this is gonna be easier here, right? So we're gonna do $100. Then we're gonna do, I don't know, July 1st. Oops. Everyone understands this concept, right? And then she kept doing that for the whole time, for all these transactions. And then each different transaction, she really liked the idea of color coding them. So everything, like for groceries, would be green. She color coded it on the sheet. And then at the end, she would take all of these and roll that into like a sort of a summarized version. So if you're familiar with Excel, it'd be like a pivot table or something like that, where she's taking all this information, summing it all together, and then looking at it. Then that's pretty standard, but she switched it up a little bit, just did her own thing. So then this is like the summary. Okay. And then what she did, she created another tab for debts, and she basically tracked it like every month. So every month she would write down all of her debts, right? So we have all these, and what example are we doing? I guess we'll say, like, it doesn't matter. July. Great. She would have her total, and then she basically just did the same exact thing over and over and over again. Month, July, month, and she just tracked it. Okay. She also had a section for her income. So I don't think she would mind me saying this. She gets paid weekly, and then also there's some like commission. She does sales. Okay. So, it would fluctuate from time to time, her income. So that's why she wanted to get a good idea. And she would again do the same thing where, she would write them all out, right, for the month. And then we have here a total. And she would do that again. Now, she also did, she had a tab for cash flow. Let's make that green. Cash flow. So what do we do here? Well, we're going to take our income minus our expenses. And it was just a very basic kind of summary of her doing that. She also did saving/investing goals. Okay. She had like another section for this. Do I have another color to use? I'll use red. And then the same thing, right? She just would literally do the same thing again, write them all down. I guess it's not goals. It would be just like the things that she put money towards that month. And then this is something that she did basically almost every day. And it just kept her, she looked at it every day too. And I'm really big on daily habits. And what this did for her, and what she said that this did for her, is like when you see something and you don't like it, especially, it really just kind of pisses you off, right? And you're like, man, I got to fix this. You just look at it every day, like, how am I going to fix this? So looking at something every day is really step one. And if you're new to me, I've talked about this a bunch of times in my own personal journey where about 10 years ago, that's how I started my journey, because I didn't even know how much money was in my bank account. No clue. I had no idea. And so what I did, and I promised myself, which was super embarrassing because I went to school for accounting. Like I was supposed to be good with like numbers and budgeting and finances and all this other stuff. But the person that I was telling myself that I I was not doing that with my actions, right? It's just as simple as that. So I started tracking my bank account back then too, and I was like, all right, do it for 30 days. I ended up doing it for 75 days, but then you get to a point where it's like I can't like just looking at my bank account isn't enough. I have to do more, and that's where Angie was kind of feeling as well. She's like, okay, great. I'm updating all my expenses every day. I'm doing all this stuff every day. It's like, what are we doing? She's like, well, let me see if I can find it here really quickly. She would do these no spend challenges, and she started getting the community involved with it. Is this gonna get bigger? Yeah, perfect. So let's see how far this goes back here. It goes back pretty far. The dates are kind of scattered, so it's a little strange. But she posted about a no spend June challenge. There's a July, in April. More April stuff. There was a May. So like she's like, how do I take this a step further? And she just totally started doing this by herself, unprompted by me, which is honestly the best part about a community, because if it's just me having to drag everyone along, like that's not fun for anyone. But if there's people in there that are creating some really cool ideas and like getting other people invested, it's just incredible. And then I'm not going to show you all the posts, but like underneath those, again, people that weren't prompted by anyone went in there and were like, man, I'm going to do this too. And they would do it. And then at the end of the month, people would share their wins of what they did. And even if it was something like, hey, I found, an extra $100, or hey, I found an extra $200, that's way more. That's more than what they would have done if they didn't do that no spend challenge thing. So she took, can I like zoom out a little bit here? She took all of this stuff, all of it, and moved it into a no spend challenge. And she like basically did the no spend challenge for a while, a few months in a row. Now I understand that might be like kind of intense for a lot of people, so I'm not recommending that per se. But what the message here is, okay, what is the small daily habit that you can do? Anything. So for her, it was like she would come home from work and she would update her sheet. This is the weirdest circle I've ever drawn in my life. Look at this thing. What is this? She would update her tracker. She's like, okay, what did I spend money on today? Let's update that. The debts was really just kind of like once a month when she made the payment, right? Income was once a week when she got her paycheck. Cash flow just sort of kind of updated itself, right? Or, saving and investing, same thing. She would I think she put aside money every single paycheck that she got, so she would update it then. But like literally every day she would just come home from work and enter the stuff in. It was that simple. So she said, because she was doing it daily, it only took her maybe 5 minutes, 7 minutes every day to just like update her sheet. And I think that the reason why maybe a lot of people don't do the whole budgeting tracking thing is because we're waiting, and I was guilty of this too back in the day. Like we're waiting until like maybe the end of the month, and we're like, man, I gotta catch up and look at what was been going on. But the problem with that is, I guess there's two things. One, it's gonna take you forever to do it because now you have to go back and look at what you already did. But two, at the end of the month, you really have no chance to make any updates, corrections, or fix something before the month happens. And I also think I think daily is a little intense. But if you're down for intense, then do the intense thing. But if you want a more balanced approach to this, where daily is a lot, maybe I would recommend weekly to start. I really like that cadence. So pick a day in the week, whichever day is best for you. Could be Tuesday, could be Saturday, Fridays, it doesn't matter. And just sit down, spend the 30, 40 minutes to just update all your stuff. And I think it's going to help you out a lot. Because imagine you're going through the month and it's day 7, right? You're going through and you just start tracking all your stuff, and you start to notice almost immediately that like, if I spend this kind of money every single week for the rest of the month, I'm going to be in like negative cash flow. I'm going to be spending more than what I think I'm going to make. Now you have 3 weeks to fix that and figure it out before the month ends. Whereas if you did it at the end of the month, it's already over. It's too late, right? So I hope that kind of makes sense here. So the overarching message of this video is oopsies, is small, repeatable habits. Just start doing something. And then we got to crank it up a notch. Crank it up. Okay. And we're obviously going to draw like a flame here. Got to flame it up. Oh, God. Oh, my God. What is that? Wait, hold on. Am I going to save it with this here? Let's see. Oh, no. Okay. You guys see what's happening here, though, right? There's a flame. Crank it up. Yeah. So really, really appreciate Angie for sharing that in the community. It was such a cool win. And I think, I think we're going to just kind of just talk about the community for a second. So if you guys have any thoughts on what Angie did or how she did it, or maybe you're in the community now and you have your own win and you'd like to be kind of featured in this wins series, I'd love to have you maybe post in here and message me like that you're interested in something like that. I don't really share these without, obviously people's permission and stuff like that, even though it is like in public, like, and you can see all these posts. I just don't want to be like talking about someone's life, behind their back on the internet. So yeah, if you're interested in that, let me know. Community activity. Let's talk about this. There was some, smaller wins in here. So Dawn, saving money by unsubscribing because I don't use 8 of the 10 things anymore. So for her, she's like a small business owner, and she was talking about like some business expenses like Pro DocuSign. There's a website thing. She's just talking about like little small things that she can do, and it does add up, absolutely. And then look at the right on cue. So Angie again, small daily habits lead to success. So she's kind of doubling down on that thought here, which is very cool. So guys, listen, this community is all for people that want to save more money, that want to pay off debt, that want to reach financial goals that they didn't think were possible, that want to increase their personal finance mindset, their confidence, and who maybe just would benefit from talking out loud about money. Like maybe the challenge is it's all like kind of tucked in. we need to talk about it. And I think having people comfortable here is great. Now, I'm not saying like we need to know like, hey, how much money do you make, and hey, what are the specific dollar amounts, and hey, like we don't need to know that. Like there's some people that are talking about wins in here, like Nicole, who doesn't mention any dollar amounts or anything. It's just like, hey, this little process that I'm doing worked, and here's what I'm doing. She's kind of like building her personal finance strategy in front of us, which is really cool. But then other people, like the one like Angie, she, we just saw, she's like, hey, here's my debt. I've paid off this amount, percentage-wise, dollar amount-wise, right? So it could be anything like that. I am really excited to announce that depending on when you're watching this, next week, and really every week, I'm going to be trying every week to do this weekly challenge. It's kind of like a 2-day or 3-day sprint of, for new people in the community to help people start tracking more efficiently, understanding where their money's going, and then aligning. How do we align the money that we're making to the things that matter to us the most? And this is all, by the way, with not making any extra money. Like I'm not going to go out there and say, hey, why don't you like get a side hustle, sell some stuff, right? This is like, no, you can get a really quick win in this community. And I think this is the way to do it. So just by the action of looking at your finances and seeing where your money's been going, we want to change that from where it's been going to refix it to now where do we want it to go, right? And that's kind of the thought process there. So yeah, school.com/debt. The link is down in the description of this video. I'm making these videos literally every single day. So again, I'd love for you guys to overwhelm me with the YouTube Q&A portion of this video, the first part of this, because honestly, I've completely ripped this from some other YouTuber that I saw doing this, and it's just so cool. And he's not that he's overwhelmed, but it's more like he can't keep up with the comments and stuff like that because he's getting so many and whatever. So I think that would just be really cool to grow, to give back to you guys right away. I'm making these videos to bring awareness to the community, and if somehow, some way, this community can make a dent in the like really kind of scary and terrible money stats that are out there, especially for the United States, then that's a win for me. So it's something like over 50% of people don't have $1,000 to pay for an emergency. Something like $22,000 or something like that is the average debt without a mortgage, and then it's like over $100,000 with a mortgage, something like that. Don't quote me on that one. I'm not too sure about that one. And yeah, I think just the idea of money being an issue in the world is just this is me just trying to put my hat in the ring as to how to help people. So if you guys appreciate that, make sure to let me know. Make sure to join the community if everything that I've talked about is something that you're interested in. And of course, I'm doing it every day, so I will see you tomorrow.